All right. Good morning. What's up, everybody? What time is it? 10:02. Friday, July 24th. Hope you guys are good. Hold on. Okay, we're good. Anyway, I'm here. Hope you guys are great. Last stream of the week. So let's do it. Got Yankees, Phillies, Yes Network stuff today. So I will be on that. Trying to see if I can figure out why my YouTube chat isn't working. Oh, no, it's working. All right. Hope everybody's good. Let me just make sure the YouTube. Okay, great. All right. So, Friday, July 24th, 2026, excuse me. We're not there yet, 2027. First question comes in today from Texas Med off of TikTok chat. Is Yordan the best hitter in baseball currently? I say yes. I think it's pretty clear. He's obviously got triple crown, everything else like that. It's close though. I mean, Judge is hurt, so he can't count into this equation right now. Soto is right there, probably the next best hitter. I know there's maybe a few guys that are outproducing Yordan right now, but yeah, 100, 99, 99, 96, 98, 92. Sorry about it. In terms of percentile rankings, if you go to the leaderboards for the expected statistics in baseball, Yordan is number 1. James Wood is the other 100th percentile. Juan Soto, Aaron Judge, Shohei, Trout, Contreras, Vargas, Baldwin, and Witt round out the top 10 for xwOBA. Wait, nothing tonight? Interesting. No show today? Oh, I didn't know. Looks like there only is a show tomorrow. Might be, I'm finding out from the producer right now, but today might have gotten flexed to like a national game or something, so we don't have pre and post. Hold on. All right, well, whatever. He'll write me back. So anyway, this is the expected batting. You know, this is mostly what I would look at, but you see the gap in xwOBA between Yordan and James Wood, 477 versus 426. To me, that's a yes. That is a clear winner. Yordan is the best hitter in baseball at the moment. I would agree with you on that. Cole Freed, I think we should watch that today. I mean, maybe not both of them, but certainly Max, since we didn't have a stream yesterday, so that makes sense. What do you think about the Mets-Dodgers series starting today? It doesn't have as much juice as if the Mets were playing well, but always fun to watch Mets-Dodgers. I always think that's a cool series. What are the odds of the Mets making the playoffs? I think they're pretty low now. I think they're down to like, let's see what Fangraphs says here. I mean, I think 2026 playoff odds. I think they're pretty low now, to be honest with you. Mets current 0.9% to make the playoffs right now on Fangraphs. I would have had it a little higher than that. I would have had it at like 7% because baseball is baseball. But yeah, by the odds, not very good. Not very good. Is Miz the best pitcher in the league? I guess it defines how you would call best. In terms of not allowing runs, I'd say right now, yes, he is. But I don't think he's the most complete or anything. It's just his stuff is that good that in terms of performance, he's going to outshine a lot of people. Better question, should the Astros be sellers going into the deadline? Well, that brings us to our standings. And we'll fast forward a little bit over here to the AL West. I mean, look, they're 2 out of the division, 3.5 out of the wild card. Jim Crane's not going to sell. I know they have a negative run differential. They've been struggling on the mound a lot. They do have a lot of their guys coming back. This is the tough one. In a way, you'd almost rather be lousy. You really would, in a way. Because if you're lousy, then you could maybe completely reset your organization with a Yordan trade. So the question is, do you believe in your team's chances to win the World Series? If they're being honest with themselves, so they give themselves truth serum, there's no way they could think that they're going to win the World Series. I mean, the American League's weak this year, and they're under 500. So, I mean, look, being that they could make a run for the postseason, maybe they'll do a little bit of neutral stuff, selling and buying, and keep trying to go, but I think they're kidding themselves a little bit, and I think they're going to miss out on an opportunity a little bit to not trade and really beef it up. I mean, Hader, Jordan, those are big pieces. Pena, I don't know. All right, next question here. Why do the Sox draft Rock when they have so many already prospect-wise? Yeah, Billy Carlson, obviously Colson's there. They have some others. I think they just believed in him. I think the argument for Rock in the draft was probably highest floor, highest level of certainty that this guy would be a productive big leaguer. Not sure about the ceiling, but also he's a legit shortstop, and if that's a good problem to have, high premium position, all around stud types, good decision to have, and I don't think you necessarily draft on need. This is Jordan, 100th hitting value, 1 base running value. He doesn't need a base run because he just hits everything over the fence. Yeah, Apple TV tonight. I just got the word. So no show today, Apple TV game. So we do a very scaled down post game with just a host. Same thing Sunday with the NBC game. So that means I only have work tomorrow. I thought I had work today. No work today. All right. That means that's good for me. Get to be with the family a little bit more. Do you think the Giants should trade their big contracts, including Arise and Ray? Yes, absolutely yes. I don't even think that's tough. Adam, can we go to your profile on StatCast? I don't have a profile for this year. At some point, we'll do some more Ottavino retrospectives, but we're good for now. Yamamoto and McLean tomorrow, though. Yeah, that's going to be sick. The best pitcher in baseball is Chris Sale. He's up there. He's in the short list. Oh, my bad. He's on the short list. I wouldn't necessarily say that. All right, here's basically the starters by expected stats. Chris Sale would be 12th best by expected ERA, but that's not the full story, of course. There's also the matter of what he's actually done, which is a 2.19 ERA, which is really, really good. But there's still players that you got to probably put ahead of him for a number of reasons, but he's on the short list. I put him in the top 5 right now. I would say top 5 pitchers 2026 in Major League Baseball for me, starters. Mizorowski, Sanchez, Cease, Schlittler. And I guess Wheeler kind of came from behind, but he's there, I think. And then Sale would be probably the next guy. A couple guys with some injuries that you got to put them a little further back, or workload totals, like inning totals and stuff like that, like a Chase Burns, etc. All right. Appreciate this feedback right here. Love that. Trying to get better every time. So, enjoying it. All right. Ooh. Thanks for the 200 joules. Have you played the 162 and oh yeah, the best team I ever made was like 130 wins. I don't think I can get much higher than that. I'm not a big FIP guy. I think that it doesn't take contact quality into account. So, strikeout, walks, and home runs, obviously very important. It tells a lot, but to me, I'm not a huge FIP guy. I'd much rather look at something that bakes in contact quality as well, even if it's not perfect. All right, we're going to get to the standings here in a sec. If you were to do it all over again, what pitches would you want to learn, or would you keep yours? Well, I mean, I tried to throw every pitch, so I think I kind of ended up where I ended up just because of the way I move and the way I throw. It was always going to be sinker, sweeper. There was always going to be a 4-seam element with the low slot, changeup. I tried cutter for a while, had curveball for a while, little arm slot climb, death ball pitch, but it's tough without the arm slot climb. So, I mean, I pretty much tried everything. Splitter I had at one point. No knuckleball, but good question there. All right. Let's get into the standings, and then we'll get going on the day. See what we want to watch. Appreciate everybody who's hanging with me today on this Friday. Very nice of you guys. All right. American League East, Tampa Bay. 2 games up on the Yankees. 59 and 43. Boston charging strong. We know that their streak finally ended when they didn't sweep the doubleheader, but they are 9-1 in their last 10. And really, I think you go back to 23. They're 20-3 in their last 23, something like that. So they're charging hard. You got to take them super seriously. Also, Baltimore, 8-2 in the last 10, 50 and 53, creeping towards 500. This division's starting to become a little bit more of what we expected. Although I think the Blue Jays now are probably in cellar territory. They're in Boston tonight, and it would take they'd have to show a spark right now. AL Central, White Sox, 1.5 up on Cleveland. Minnesota, they're another one that's a potential seller. 2 games under. They have to look themselves in the mirror here. They have some pieces. Jeffers, Joe Ryan is a big piece. I don't know. But we'll see. We'll see what the Twins do. They're kind of hanging around. Detroit's been flying, trying to get back into it. They've essentially won 66% of their games going back about a month now. So they're clawing back. They're 5 below 500. I think they're going all the way up to the deadline, and I think they're playing both sides of the deadline with the Scooble thing. AL West, Rangers, half game up on the Mariners, and we just talked about the Astros. All 3 of those teams, I think, will be aggressive one way or another. I mean, certainly all 3 of those GMs operate fairly aggressively. Young, Dipoto, and, of course, what the Astros do. The Astros just, I mean, I don't believe in them, but at the same time, they're not one to wave the flag. A's and Angels are cooked. National League Braves, 4.5 up on the Phillies. So Phillies have not played good right out of the break, and they start a series with the Yankees tonight. But that division's still up in the air. This has been crazy to watch the Marlins out of nowhere lose 9 in a row. And then the Nats are hanging around the wild card race too, but I find it hard to believe that they'll compete with that bullpen. And I actually think they might be a seller, even being over 500. Then the Mets are definitely selling. NL Central, Brewers 7 up on the Cubs. Cubs have played mediocre as of late, and that's hurt them. Pittsburgh, 53 and 50, is now past the Cardinals. Cardinals are in a tough stretch right now. Regressions come for them. It seems like this is the natural order of things, that the Cardinals are destined for 4th place this year, but we'll see. NL West, Dodgers 11 up on the D-backs. D-backs trying to hang in there. They've played well, but they're not going to be a division factor. They're more of a wild card factor. So let's go to the wild card races. American League. If it ended today, the Red Sox are in. Mariners 2 back. Twins 2.5. So I think it ends with Detroit. I think Toronto's out. -6. I mean, they just haven't been inspiring this year. It's hard. I didn't want to let go of the faith for Toronto based on what we saw last year, but I don't got the faith in them anymore. I think the line is on Detroit as the last team that can maybe still dream out of this scenario in the American League. National League, if it ended today, Diamondbacks are in. Pirates, Cardinals, Marlins, Nationals, Padres. It's probably where you draw the line there. Padres, of the teams chasing the Diamondbacks for the last wild card spot, who do I believe in the most? Pittsburgh's got some pitching. And Pittsburgh maybe might have the best roster. Marlins, I would have said, but I don't know. They've kind of tanked. So I think Marlins, Pirates. I don't think the Cardinals are going to do much at the break except sell off some spare pieces. And I don't believe in the Nationals. So as jumbled as it is in both of these divisions, there's not that many teams to like truly throw your support behind either. All right, coffee cup winners. Let's reload this page. All right, for last night, these are the offensive winners. Tyler Locklear of the Diamondbacks, 3 for 5 with a home run, 3 RBIs. Dominic Smith had a 3-run homer, it looks like. James Outman, same. Pitchers, Gavin Williams had a great game. 7 innings, 11 punchies. Sale, 6 innings, 11 punchies versus the Giants. Ian Seymour's continued to pitch quite effectively. 6-2. Shane Bieber, 7-1. Troy Melton continues to be really, really good. Let's check the WPAs on last night. Outman with the big hit, Dingler and Smith for pitchers. For pitchers, Holderman with a 2-inning leverage piece for the Guardians in a loss, but still gets the tops for WPA. Williams and Bradley. Let's go back a day, though, because we might want to sample this. So this is 2 days ago. This is Saturday's games. Gerrit Cole, 7 innings, 11 Ks, 3 runs. Cade Cavalli, 6 shutout. Bubba Chandler, 6 1/3 shutout. Max Fried, 5 shutout. That's who I probably want to watch. And then hitting James McCann. I think he hit his 100th career home run. Congrats on that. Brooks Lee, 2 for 5 home run. Trevor Larnach, 2 for 4 home runs. So that's what we saw over the weekend. And then yesterday's top prospect check-in. Home runs from Hartshorn, Namala, Quintero, Tate, Arias, and Pena. 4 hits for Cooper Engel, number 62 prospect. On the mound, Jackson Wiggins. So the Mets, that's the Cubs. Jackson Wiggins did not do very well in his game in Iowa. What about the day before that? No, nobody there. And nobody really there. Sirota still got the on-base streak going. I see a 3 for 5 a couple days ago. I don't know. All right, let's get back in the chat, and then we'll get off and watch some pitching and some hitting and all the types of things. George Lombard Jr. coming soon. Well, they haven't put the kibosh on that, so I think that's possible. Yeah, I think that's possible. Another bad Mets deal that has been forgotten, dealing Holderman for Vogelback. Oh, my God, don't get me started, Carl. Didn't like it in the moment. Nothing against Dan, like Dan. But I just felt like Holderman was a good player. Ultimately, they didn't think he would stay healthy. There has been some of that. But he's also pitched quite effectively in a few stretches. So agree with you. Agree with you totally. That was tough. What else we got here? The next 6 D-backs games are all with teams that are fighting for that spot with. I think they're going to end up being buyers. D-backs have played well lately, to your point. Astros will go out fighting. No faith in Houston, but they don't know how to give up on the season. I agree with you there. Totally. What do you see as the ceiling for Jackson Flora, realistically? You got to say a 1 or a 2 if you're picked that high, or the top pitcher in the draft. You better be a 1 or a 2. Why aren't there more pitchers trying to master the knuckleball? It would throw off a lot of hitters. I think that it's just really hard to be a pitcher and a knuckleball pitcher. Knuckleball pitcher is such a special skill, and if it was easy, a lot of people would do it because, to your point, I think it can be effective. Slapback echo. Seen 2 people in the chat say this, but it's only when I'm on this live stream part, right? On the... Oh, you know what it is? That should be better. I had my DJI mic thing on. That should have fixed it. Let me know if you don't hear the echo now. There's so many levers to pull on this thing. Do you think Lindor will be traded? Definitely not. Your thoughts on Cardinals ambidextrous pitcher? This is, Durangelo. I think it's cool. Apparently, he's a lot better right-handed. If I were him, I would not give up on the switch pitching. It would be super cool in a pinch to switch around and give a guy a tough matchup. Reds giving up on Sirota so quickly is killing me. Glad something is finally working out for the Dodgers, though. I roll. Yeah, that's crazy, man. And they stole Sirota like in the 3rd round. He was supposed to be a first-rounder, but had a down year at Northeastern in the final year, so... I don't know if he dropped all the way to the 3rd round, but he wasn't very high as he was projected to be. So they stole him, and then they traded him to the Dodgers or whatever. He ends up on the Dodgers. Insane. All right, we fixed it. Thanks. All right, here's one. Just saw Phil Regan had passed. Mets coach thoughts. Yeah, legend of the game, in the game forever. I actually met him only a few years ago. He was like 80-something already. Just a legendary guy. Legendary guy in the Mets organization. Been around forever. Phil Regan, good question there. What do you think would be the biggest name moved at the deadline? Probably like a Mason Miller, unless it's a Tarek Skubal, but I think Mason Miller is going to get traded. I definitely think so. Yeah. Mike Sirota had his 72-game on-base streak come to an end, finishing just 2 games shy of a minor league record. Damn. He was right there. What do you think about 2 arm slots, a high and a low arm slot for lefties and righties? If you can do it, great. The more wrinkles you can add, great. You know me, Uncle Ted. I don't put any hard rules on any of that. What would be your best player for the White Sox trade deadline? to be called a success. Starting pitcher and catcher, yeah, probably. With Teal going out, you look at the White Sox roster resource here. They're in first place. They're not in position to go nuts, though. They're still building their core. So they're not going to go nuts with trading a bunch of pieces that they're going to need for the future. But yeah, with Teal going down again, catcher would be a big one. So, of course, you're going to try to big game hunt a little bit, see who could become potentially available between, if Langoliers could become available, but I don't think he will. So catcher of some nature, and then pitching for sure. They're light on the starting pitching. I think there's going to be plenty of pitchers available, and they'll find somebody that suits their cost. I don't think they'll hunt for any of the big guys either, but somebody who can start a playoff game for them. Because if they are to make the playoffs, and say they have 3 games to play right away, who's starting for the White Sox? Obviously, Davis Martin and Sean Burke, but I don't know after that. So they'd like to have one more for sure. They'd like to have one more. Would you include Lombard in a deal for Miller? I would not. I would not if I was the Yankees. I would not. I would not. I would not. I would not. So is it likely the Dodgers get Skubal? I think it's unlikely. I think it's likely at this point he stays, which is crazy to say. Just the vibes I got from Tigers when I was over there doing the game the other day against the Cubs. Not sure if you touched on this, but what would you do to make the Mets over 500 team next season? So listen, first of all, it's hard to say this because I do think this year's been a disaster and mistakes were made, but they should still be a 500 team with their roster. Crazy. So I would take a hard look at the pitching, but this offseason is going to get super complicated with the lockout and a bunch of things. So specific moves are tough, and you're also going to be locked into keeping some guys. I think Bo Bichette is going to opt back in. So you got to take real stock here and really evaluate these last 2 months really strongly while they're not making the playoffs, and then figure out kind of what are the holes you want to plug and how you want to go about that. But I'd be looking a lot at the offensive side of the equation if I were the Mets, and also the starting pitching side of the equation. So kind of 2 big areas. Why wasn't Volpe learning to play all infield positions when he was coming up in the minors? I don't know. I'm not there for that. I thought, for the most part, he was a Gold Glove shortstop as a rookie. So usually that translates to the other positions, and I'm sure he could play the other positions. And I feel terrible for him that it was said out loud that he refused when he didn't, because that's not true, and it sucks. And that's slander. So don't love that. All right, let's get going. I want to circle back to Max Fried. He was on the IL for a while. And, the Yankees have kind of an embarrassment of riches in the starting rotation. It's hard to call him the ace when you have Schlittler and Cole that exist, but in my mind, he's the most complete pitcher on the Yankees. Not to say best necessarily, but most complete, and the guy that I would hand the rock to against any team, anytime, in any situation. So this has been his season. He just made his 11th start. He went on the IL after the first 10. Every time he's been out there, he's been really, really effective. He's a 4-3, 2.97. 0.96 whip. Max Fried is sneaky, on the Hall of Fame highway. I don't know if a lot of people realize that. He's right around 3 ERA for his career, 30.6 WAR through his first 211 games. Go away. I don't want to pay for anything. Get out of here, ads. You look at the body of work for Max Fried. He's 32 years old. He's going to be able to stack a lot more on it. I think 200 wins is a definite possibility for him. I think his game will age well. Now, he doesn't really have as many huge output seasons in terms of 200 innings and stuff like that, but I do think we're in a little bit of a different era. His run prevention has been great. His postseason performance has been pretty great. I remember he pitched the final game to win it. Actually, he's got a 5.23 in 8 years in the postseason. Who knew? But I know he pitched a big game in the World Series in the championship game. Must have had a bad start, but then bounced well. Did have 12 strikeouts and 1 walk. Anyway, I say all that to say, I'm a big Max Fried fan, and I'm really happy to see him back and that he wasn't out for the season or anything. So, anyway, let's go take a look at Max Fried from the other day, fresh off the IL, and see what we see. So he goes 5 innings, very efficient, 57 pitches. 1 hit, 1 walk, 7 strikeouts versus the Pirates. Here's the breakdown on Max. 16 cutters, 16 fastballs. Velo was excellent in this game. 96.2 average on the 4-seam. That's something you always want to check right when they come off of. 11 sinkers, 5 changeups, 4 sweepers, 4 curveballs, 1 slider. He's really a kitchen sink pitcher with some weird movement on his fastball. If you go look at his, back to his Savant page real quick, and you look at his pitch movement, this is the fastball. So it's only 3.9 inches. That's a little bit of that perceived cut going from left to right with above average amount of rise. Then he pairs that with this really hard cutter at 92. So those two pitches are going to pair really well together and really hard to tell apart. And I think that it's this shape of the heater that gives him a lot of margin for error in general because he already has the other stuff to go along with it. But if his heater was more basic, I think it wouldn't be very good for him, but it's been fine. Anyway, tons of whiff, 37% whiff. Only 2 hard hits against him. That's another thing that Max does really well. So excited to have him back. I was a little worried about his injury, but good to see him back pitching, and that's big for the Yankees. And then that allowed them to use Will Warren in the pen the other day. I know he's starting tonight, but intriguing that Warren came out of the pen in that game, and the Yankees pitching staff continues to shift. People step forward, like my guy Paul Blackbird's really stepped forward for what it's worth as well. But yeah, we'll see where they're at in a little while, but this was big. All right, here it is. Max Fried versus the Pirates. Let's get into it. All right, first batter is Gonzalez. And that's that first pitch, 95-7 from Max. And then that cutter off of that. I mentioned a lot of 4-seamers and cutters, inner third to righties. That's 98 right there, 97.5 on that fastball. So health check looks okay. Something about the leg kick feels a little different than before. Oh yeah. I feel like he's a little slower on his gather. And if you recall, he was struggling a lot out of the windup early in the season. All his walks were coming out of the windup. Oh, so very fortunate here for the first out of the game. But, you know, I don't love that he's wearing a compression sleeve. Did he do this pre-game, pre-coming back? To me, this is always a little bit of a red flag when a guy thinks he needs like a compression sleeve to pitch. We've seen guys do it for years, so it's nothing's written in stone here, but I don't love that. Anyway, let's see the play by Belly here because this is nice. Bad changeup, ripped down the line, off the short wall, played perfectly by Belly. Little backhand pivot, 1 hop to Jazz, tags him on the foot. And that's a pitcher's best friend for real. You think a pitcher's best friend is a double play. It's really a ball that should be a hit and then becomes an out. All right, so that's the first out, and we are on to batter number 2, Triolo, who's actually been super hot as of late. 96 up ball, 96 for the bunt. Can't bunt on Max, though. He's Gold Glove, and he takes care of that. 2 outs. And now Reynolds. Cutter strike. I want to look at some old video of Max because something's different with his leg kick. He's loading it differently. I think it's more deliberate, and he's getting to almost like a balance point moment where I think he was rolling through it before. So, like, guys are always making micro adjustments, but that's what I'm seeing. And then we'll find another game to see if I'm right as he blows away Reynolds with 98 up top. So, comes out in the first inning. Velo is tremendous. Location is whatever. Got a little lucky with that throw out, but nevertheless faces the minimum in the first. Second inning, ooh, as Merlin Valdez, who's been a machine since he came up. Cutter in.
Watching Max Fried as he goes to work tonight, guys.
Really good stuff, Meredith, and yeah, this is what Yankee fans have been waiting for.
I think he stopped pitching from the full windup. He was at one point in games, just only going out of the stretch because he was having trouble with his windup. So I'm wondering if this was a response to that. Anyway, he's going to go ahead and walk somebody out of the windup right here. Valdez, first batter of the second, so he must get really efficient after this. I don't think he was particularly sharp these first 4 batters. And yes, efficient, yes. First pitch, chopper on a sinker left on left, O'Hearn to Goldie, 1 out. And now it's Ozuna from the Braves. Even though he's on the Pirates. Cutter up and in, challenge. That's going to be a ball. Comes Cutter again.
It was great for me as a young pitcher. How to be accountable, really. That's a big thing.
Fouled off on the changeup, and then this is 98.5. I mean, this is almost 99 miles an hour. Now, I will say, sometimes velocity spikes are a little bit sketchy. I mean, my velocity spike came right before my Tommy John, and I'm not trying to put that on Max, but this does seem a little weird that his velo would be way up coming off the IL, but
99 with that heater.
Hopefully he's all good. That was a screaming heater right there. And then here's his left-on-left sinker to Bilal, and gets the same type of out as he got off of Ryan O'Hearn. Left-on-left sinker, early contact, quick outs. That's just another feature of Max. And this sinker that the Yankees taught him that has only 2.5 vert or less, like a ton of drop, they have something with their seam orientation that they have figured out that I don't think a lot of other teams around the league have figured out. All right, third inning.
I mean, signs in the stands is pretty big league, Mayor.
I mean, I'll take it. I will take it. I met another friend.
Did you feel more pressure from Yankee fans compared to others when things aren't going your way? Yes. I mean, I didn't listen to it. I still stayed in my own zone, but you can feel the energy in the building for sure. As he jams, who's this, Flores? Jams in with a fastball here. You can feel it. I mean, there's just pressure. I mean, I just think people who pretend it's not there are just lying. Yankees, Mets, Red Sox, all those places you feel it. Not that you don't feel it in other places, but it's more palpable in the big markets for sure. And the Yankees, it's because it comes with expectations. Because the expectations are so high, that's what creates the pressure. You know, you're all just playing baseball at the end of the day, but when you're expected to be perfect, that can creep in, and that's why I tell guys to not read the articles, not listen to what the radio or what they're writing or Twitter or the fans or really anything. Just have a good time in the summer with your buddies and try to be as good as you can. That will keep your brain as clear as possible. Anyway, another really good fastball up. So he's featured a tremendous fastball up when he's needed it. The stuff's been there. I struggle to say that the command's been there yet, but the stuff's definitely been there. There's a cutter up. And then four seam, as this is second time through the order, jams the crap out of him. Again, that fastball has that cutting action to it. So he gets in on righties tremendously, a la Kershaw, a la a lot of other really good lefties. All right, fourth inning.
Top of the fourth.
Triolo curveball strike. And cutter middle. Good pitch to hit, but it's chopped. And then McMahon with the nice play. So that's McMahon's value too. A lot of people forget what third base was like before McMahon started playing third, and it wasn't good. But this is tremendous. Little whirly bird action at third. Nice play. Next up, Reynolds punched him with a high hitter the first time. This time he's going to start him with a sinker down. It's crazy because for a guy who had such an efficient game, I don't think Max had great command today. That was a nice pitch. Cutter belt line in for the chase, and then he's going to go sweeper off of that. Ends up throwing a backdoor sweeper for a take. So happy accident there for the strikeout. And now back to Valdez. Cutter in, chopped foul. Sweeper off that. You see, whenever they get swing action on a cutter, he goes sweeper next. Great take. Now four seam. Painted. All right, now the command's starting to shape up. Change up away. All right, for me, this was his best sequence of the game so far versus Valdez. Let's watch it real quick. He starts him with a cutter in. Perfect execution, chopped foul, speeds him up, but knows he's on the fastball, so goes even slower to the sweeper. There's actually a perfect pitch, just a great layoff. This is a strike for a really long time. Great layoff. All right, so you're going to lay that off. That means the inside corner is available. Let's go with the fastball again. Gets the freeze, knowing that that's available. Now he's showed him 3 straight pitches in. Now we're going to switch the plate and go change up below zone, and it's going to create a wave. Yes, because now that he reinforced in, it's not as strong of a dive anymore, and all he can do is lose his hand on the bat and wave over it. So to me, this was by far the best sequence we've seen so far, and you can tell by just how weak and messed up that swing was by Valdez. So nice fourth inning for Fried. And now we go to the 5th. O'Hearn, sinker strike. Sinker coming again. That's low. Now to the 4.
Yeah. Although
Gets above there. Probably sticks with it or breaking ball away. Yeah, breaking ball away. Slider. You don't see a lot of this version of the slider either from Max. The harder downer slider, but this was very well executed. And that's also the value of not showing a lefty left on left, a breaking ball, as long as possible. O'Hearn had only seen sinkers and fastballs up until that point. Shows him the slider, gets the swing and miss. All right, that is 1 out in the 5th. Here is Ozuna. Sinker away ball. Sinker ball. Change up on 2-0. Remember, this is still a 0-0 game, so he doesn't want to get clipped. Pipes in a change up there. Now to the cutter in. Happy accident.
Excellent striking
and then
out.
change up.
With the bases loaded, 1 out in the 10th in game 1.
Good execution on that changeup. He's executed his last 2 changeups very well. Ozuna's out, and then he's going to finish up his outing with Bilao here. Sinker, ball. Only 2 lefties in the lineup, and he treated them the same. A lot of early sinkers, and then he'll switch it up after that, off of that.
Great sweeper, 1 and 2. The 1-2 coming here in the top of the 5th. Just wasn't close enough to the plate to get loud. The 2-2. He got him.
Perfectly located last cutter. So, all right, what did we learn about Max coming back off the IL? We learned that his stuff is good. The velocity's there. The pitches are all there. The defense was good. He just raises the Yankees' ceiling even more. I don't think he had his best command, which is scary for everybody else. But this is what I'm talking about, Max. He doesn't have to have his best stuff in a start to pitch well. He doesn't have to have his best command in a start to pitch well because he's got enough of everything, and it's all unique enough where he's usually going to get weak contact. There's not going to be any extra opportunities against him to like steal. He might find an out on the bases. He can reach back for more velocity when he needs it. Like, he really has a little bit of everything. So great to see Max come back. And yeah, between Schlittler, Fried, and Cole, they're in a really good spot right now. If Rodon can get healthy, that will help even more. Obviously, there's other pitchers as well, but I don't know if any team really has quite, I mean, maybe the Dodgers when they're at their best, but that's pretty tough to go toe-to-toe with. Can you imagine like a Yankees-Dodgers World Series where both teams were actually clicking on all cylinders, and you could get like a Schlittler, Yamamoto, Shohei, Cole, like Snell, Fried as the 3 pitching matchups? Yikes, that would be really fun. That'd be really fun. So anyway, that was Max. He looked good. He looked good. I would not have noticed that thing you were talking about with Max's legs on the delivery. That's why we enjoy streams. Oh yeah, that reminds me. Let's see if I know what I'm actually talking about. So let's try to find a Max Fried delivery. First, we'll start with this one from last night. Well, we'll watch it from first base side. So it looks like to me like there's a little bit less of a roll through it. Like that's a little bit more defined on the leg kick, but I'm going to find an old game and we'll see if I'm right. All right. Maybe he pitched against the Red Sox earlier in the year. Let's see. Certainly he's been on the IL for a bit. No, he didn't. Who did Max pitch against early in the year? The Giants, right? For opening day. Giants, Yankees. All right, let's see if we can see anything here. I do think it's different. I do. I think early on he wasn't the knee. I think it's the direction of the knee is what I'm seeing. All right, so this knee, like the femur, is pointed up, like in front of him, right? And he kind of rolls through it like as he's moving forward, you see? Okay. Took a picture of that, and then let's go back to the game last night. I mean, now the knee's back. Now he's swung it back, creating a little more hip load. So now we got a different angle going here. Guys see that? I think maybe that's what I was seeing. He's trying to load a little bit more and get his glute more pointed towards the plate. So that would be my guess. Drifting a little more early in the delivery. The first video that we saw from earlier in the year. This one maybe a little bit more focused on staying back. Did I take a picture of this yet? So then you can kind of see what I'm talking about on the pitcher comparison. This one versus this one. It's pretty straightforward, right? Just looking to stay back a little better. And maybe they felt like he was drifting through his delivery a little much out of the windup. Because if you looked at his splits earlier this year, almost all the walks were coming out of the windup. So anyway, not a huge thing, but clearly that's something he's been working on. And we spotted it a little bit, no? And we'll see if this is a good change or not. Certainly the speed and everything was there. But I don't know. Pretty fun to look at that. Pretty fun to look at that. Looks like he's drifting and then dropping as opposed to the reverse. Nice clean delivery. Yeah, they're both clean. Maybe they just felt like he was drifting through him a little bit. Yeah. Best coffee shop in New York, Adam. As of right now, I have Solid State, Upper West Side is my favorite at the moment. Anyway, this is a mug I picked up on my trip in Santa Ana at this shop called Them Goods, Them Skates. It's a skate shop. Anyway, got this mug, added it to the collection. Yeah, and the glove's coming up way higher to clear out of the room for that. Hey, you see the one glove is just down in the middle of his chest and he's doing like a glove tap with his hand. And then this one way higher to clear out for his leg coming back. So that's kind of what I saw. I saw something in the leg kick right away that threw me off. But trying to make an adjustment there. Do you think that change of the knee angle could help maintain more consistent velo? Perhaps. There's a little bit more load in there coming down the slope, a little bit more free energy, and then the uncoiling has a few more degrees, so you could potentially harness more. I mean, look, he's throwing harder yesterday, but I don't understand Max's delivery from a biomechanical standpoint. I don't have that data, so perhaps, but we'll see. Do you just analyze baseball? Yes, I do. I appreciate you being here and hanging today. Do you think Jason Dominguez and Spencer Jones both go at the deadline? I don't know. But I do think anything's on the table. Yankees have never been shy to upgrade when they think they have a shot. And the argument for having a shot, to me, really stems around this idea. They're getting a little bit older. Cole's in the back end of his career. Judge is sort of in the back end of his career. So if Judge is healthy enough and they're confident that he's definitely coming back, why not make a run at it? You don't have to beat any great team to get to the World Series this year. That's probably what they're thinking. Now, the flip side of that is they really haven't played it well against any good teams all year. So that's the flip side. Central Perk, ask for Phoebe. I love that. That's great. That is great. All right. You guys want to watch Cole from the other day, or you want to switch up to something else? Non-Yankee. I mean, Bubba Chandler pitched in this game as well. He's an interesting character and a possibility. I'm just going to wait for some suggestion in the chat here, and then we'll go from there. Oop, Rugen said Cole. Gavin Williams got poked in there second. Honestly, they're very similar. All right, 2 votes for Cole. So we're going to go to Cole. All right, so I don't know how many of you guys follow me on TikTok, but me and Gerrit were together over the break. And we worked a little bit on a couple things with him. I'm not going to talk about exactly what they are, but a couple adjustments that he was looking to make, particularly to create better whiff rate on his fastball. And sure enough, he goes ahead and strikes out a ton of guys his last 2 games. So this is what we're looking at right now. And this is the intriguing stuff about Gerrit. Gerrit's always going to throw a lot of strikes. He's always going to be competitive. He's going to give up home runs because of the nature of how many strikes he throws. And his gyro slider and his fastball tend to lend themselves to home runs when they are hit. But overall, he's going to do a great job. But he needs to create more whiff. He knows it. And that's what he was working on. Like on the season, he's 19th percentile whiff. That's not Gerrit. So you go back through the game logs, and he was really struggling through this mid-period here to get any strikeouts. He had a 2 strikeout game, 4, 6, 5, 5. That's not really him. Anyway, last 2 games, 8 and 11. And he's pitched really well. Yes, he's been clipped for home runs, 3 between those 2 games. But I think anybody who is watching knows that he threw the ball pretty well these last 2 games. And specifically, it was the 4-seam fastball that we were worried about a little bit with the whiff rate. Not worried about, but trying to figure it out because he's never had trouble with that before. He was down around 19% before his last 2 starts. Now he's up to 22%. But if you go back to other years, typically he's, when he was in his prime, like winning Cy Youngs, and even before that, he was a lot higher. So 22.2 and 26, 23.5 and 24, but he was hurt. And he was also partially hurt in 23. Don't forget that, 23% whiff. But then you go back to 22, 29% whiff, 21, 28% whiff. 2020 doesn't really count, but you go back to the Houston days, he had 37% whiff. So anyway, we're trying to look at his fastball. And the Yankees had it as already having more, like they have an expected whiff stat. And they had him at like 26%, so they're telling him not to worry about, but he felt like there was a little something with the delivery. And so anyway, I'm not going to get too in the weeds with it, but we worked on it a little bit. And so far, I think I'm pretty encouraged by the results. So let me backtrack to Gerrit's usage in this game. Also, same day, they had a doubleheader. So we go 7 innings, 4 hits, 3 runs, no walks, 11 strikeouts. Did get a clip for the 2 home runs. Here is Cole's mix from the day. 47 4-seamers with 45% whiff. So that's what shot up the whiff numbers all of a sudden, and that's super encouraging. 17 changeups, which I even commented earlier in the year. I felt like that was going to be a big option for him, and so far it has been. 14 sliders, 14 curves, even through 1 sinker. 40% whiff for the game is outstanding. For his taste, that's too low on first pitch strikes. So he'll do better on that probably his next game. But let's go ahead and go to it. So we're doing some Yankees stuff here in the morning. But these guys are very interesting, and if the Yankees are going to do anything, it's going to be a lot because of these guys. All right, let's lock it in. Gerrit versus the Pirates, his original team. A little 4-seam love right there. Another 4-seam love facing Jake Mangum, SEC legend. Triple fastballs. Quadruple fastballs. And now to the changeup. So 4 fastballs and then changeup. Now, one thing about Gerrit's changeup is it has a lot of lift. There's not a lot of drop on it, so it has to be, the trick with it has to be maintaining 4-seam backspin so the batter can't get any visual cues, and then a big speed differential. So 86 off of 95, about 9 miles an hour. If he could up that gap, he'd get more whiff on his changeup, but it does work. He gets out in front, and you see that's just a little slappy fly out to left field. All right, second batter, Brandon Lau. First pitch, curveball ball. Second pitch, 4-seam. And that's a little bit encouraging. He does give that ball a ride, but Lau likes to pull everything. So if he's not pulling it, that means he's a little late as he flies out to center for the second out. Did get fortunate that that wasn't pull side, though, because that would have been a home run at that exit velo at Yankee Stadium. All right, Brian Reynolds. Misfires with the heater, comes back with the curve, gets the swing and miss. Playing catch with him, his knuckle curve is nasty. Like, it bites so late and it's so tight. I'm surprised he doesn't go to it even more, having played catch with him a lot. Change up, way out in front, pulled foul. And now he's slowed him down on 2 pitches. He can go 4-seam up away. Perfect location for the swing through. If you're a righty with a good 4-seam fastball, this is the perfect location for you to throw to a lefty with 2 strikes. Their barrel dips. This ball gets over the bump. I mean, over the ball gets over the barrel, and We'll see you later. All right. Third inning. That was a really clean. Actually, it's the second inning. That was a really clean first inning. And it's Valdez.
They had yesterday off with the rain out. They also have an off day tomorrow.
Another swing and miss on a fastball.
In game one, but how exciting to have both of these guys pitching.
Slider dotted down and away. Nice pitch. And now 4-seam, they'll try to lock him up. Or just beats him right down the middle. So he got 2 swing and misses on fastballs in that at-bat. Already seeming very different than what we were seeing early on. Also, it looks like he's throwing with such ease. I want to look at his delivery from the side in a second because the fastball is just pouring out of his hand with 0 effort. Here's a called strike 3. Yeah, look at this first fastball. Look at how easy this is. Like, that's 96, guys. This is what a 96 mile an hour fastball looks like from a 35-year-old man. I mean, that's just like taking a walk in the park. But he's always been a freak like that. And then this is when he wants to step on it a little more. This is the 98. Well, it is just a little extra finish on the end. So nice pitch there. And back-to-back strikeouts to start off the second. And I think he's going to get a third one here. 3-pitcher. Slider tapped foul. 97 up and away, fouled off. And then knuckle curve. See you later. And I told you this pitch is a banger. Yeah, that's a banger. So punches the side in the second. Third inning.
That wasn't a
Backdoor curve ball, but good pitch. He's going to go back to it. Gets the roll over to Ben Rice. Oh, Gerrit, good job covering. Attaboy. 1 out. And Henry Davis. Slider fouled off. Somehow he's under that. Slider soared. Oh, man, I would have stuck with it. Can't believe he went fastball here. Pulls it away. Slider again. Nope. And 4-seam. Doors. 4-seam is really playing again. No doubt about it. That's 18 vert on that. Shooting up in the zone. And I will say, like, I didn't really have a ton of answers. I saw what he was talking about when we were going through his delivery and what he needed to work on. But he's the one who was driving the conversation. Like, so all credit of him looking good with his fastball goes to him. But it's amazing to watch a guy self-diagnose like Gerrit can. That's probably why he's one of the best, because he's really good at feeling things out there and understanding what he needs to do. Here's a nice changeup to Callahan. Good location on this one, flat out, just down. And that's the third inning. Fourth inning.
Back to the top of the order, Jake Mangum.
Changeup just down. This is back to the top of the order, by the way. Mangum saw nothing but fastballs and changeups the first at-bat. Let's see if that holds up here. Once he gets you to swing at that, you're in trouble. Curve coming.
The 1-2.
Oh my God. He fouled it off himself and died. Ow. Another heater coming. Overcooked and knuckle curve.
From elbow surgery. That's
ooh.
Slowly to third. McMahon.
Not a great pitch, but a good result. And now Brandon Lau. Slider backdoor ball. I think he's just struggled a little bit with his strike breaking balls early in counts when he's trying to pitch backwards. Change up away, 2-0. So a 2-0 change up to Lau. Gets him out front off the end. Very good 2-0 pitch there. Dominguez comes and gets that. Now we're up to Reynolds again. 97 down ball. Thank you for the guitar. I mean, for the jewels.
1-1.
Swinging strike slider. Ooh, that disappeared. Where was the previous fastball? Was it in? Because that was brilliant tunneling. Yeah, it's just like when you have to respect the low fastball, then the slider comes out low, you swing, and it's just gone. So 1-2, and then changeup. Didn't quite get it where he wanted to, but didn't hit it hard either. Definitely had him out front, and he looks brilliant through 4. Fifth inning, Valdez. Slider ball. I think if he was reviewing his own outing, he would just say, I need to do better with first pitch strikes. But got to be encouraged by the way the Stuff is playing. Stuff is playing tremendous.
Big swing and a
Yeah,
miss.
stay right there with Valdez. No reason to stay away from anything but four seam. He sees it and he punches him away. I think he's missed about 5 fastballs off Gerrit. All right, 1 out in the 5th. This is a private app called Dugout, so not available, unfortunately.
And he goes outside with
Four seam away, hops ahead 0-2 on O'Hearn. Here comes a changeup. Little low.
No 1-2.
Four seam going for the down and away paint. Gets it up a little bit, fouled off. Slider down in, good take.
The pitch. Missed that one
Okay.
badly with a changeup.
And then he's going to do a called strike 3. Now that's a funny combo right there. Decides not to challenge. Wow, that was a ball. Look at this hilarious. This is a combination. Do this on purpose sometime, guys. Change up off the backstop. Fastball in for freeze.
Here comes the 3-2. He got him.
Oh, thanks for the jewels, Brady. It's fully private, unfortunately. No dugout access. Sorry, Peachy Nectarini. All right, back to
On that particular
Gonzalez. Knuckle curve here on 1-0. And there's the first hit. Little line drive on the knuckle curve. I think that basically happened because he just didn't get ahead in the count. And eventually somebody was going to get him. Fastball away, fouled off. Is this the home run? Changeup just misses off the corner. Great take. And then changeup home run. Yeah, I think if he could redo it. It's really more execution based because he is out front when he one-hands this pitch. But I think he probably would have chosen another pitch. So this is why I say that. The take is a little too good on the changeup on this 0-1. Like, that's a little too good. That's a great pitch. So to throw another changeup, I don't know, makes a lot of sense. But if he throws it down and away again, he's not hitting a home run. Then the mistake becomes the execution. And all that happened here was G pulled it down the middle. And then a great job riding it out by Jacob Gonzalez. Yes, it's a short porch home run, but still a great job riding it out. So gets himself in trouble a little bit this inning with a lack of command, getting some guys into some hitters counts. And then this is just a poor execution with this changeup. And Gonzalez does a good job riding it out. So 2-0 Pirates right there.
down the line.
It can happen in a hurry. All right, here's Davis. Angry fastball up and in. Strike 1 after the challenge.
Doesn't hook a foul.
Another four seam here.
Put it in the seats.
8 strikeouts, 14 up, 14 down, single homer.
That was the 4th time he went back-to-back changeups in the outing. See, to me, it didn't look like he guessed as much as it was just a much easier pitch to hit. And the take kind of informed that he was going to be able to stay back. But yeah, you don't want to be predictable with that either. Thanks for the jewels. Keep sending me sick jewels. Appreciate that. Anyway, here's another strikeout of Henry. This one's called looking at 98. This is his hardest pitch of the game so far. So a little bit of anger after that home run. Back out for the 6th. Callahan. Four seam up. So the four seam continues to play. The four seam's been probably the biggest takeaway from the first 2 games out of the break. It's playing much better. The whiff has been a hell of a lot better, and that's gonna turn things around. His best run of pitching is still to come, and that's what the Yankees are hoping for sure. All right, back to the top end. Mangum, four seam strike. Dugout app, private app. Serafino Brito. Change up down ball.
2-1. Swing and a miss.
Out of today's players, who would you want up there in the biggest moment? Alvarez or Soto? Alvarez or Soto. Those two. Change up down. I mean, curveball down. Good job by Mangum to slap it into right. Good hitting. Good pitching. Good hitting. And now we have a man on first here with 1 out in the 6th. And Brandon Lau is up, who he's gotten to fly out twice. Once on a fastball that was really well hit, but he didn't pull it. Once on a changeup that he did pull, but it was off the end of the bat. So let's see this 3rd at bat. Falls behind on him 2-0. Not Matt Olson. I love Matt Olson, but I mean, you can't pick everyone. So made my choices. Those are my top 2 for right now.
Went around.
Big game on the line, Soto and Jordan. Those are my
The
top 2 at
2-2.
the moment.
He got him.
Honestly,
A
Otto
season
Lopez is
high
pretty far up there
11
too, just for a guy who's going to
strikeouts.
put bat on the ball. And so he ends up punching him out with a really nice knuckle curve away from him.
2-2. He got him.
That was one of the
A
nastier
season
pitches of the
high
day.
11
Nice knuckle
strikeouts.
curve. The stuff looks great from Gerrit.
24% of the
Big
time.
takeaway from both Gerrit and Fried, who are the 2 guys we've watched so far.
Jacob
The stuff looks
Gonzalez.
great.
In the 5th, those are the 2 runs.
Yeah, that fastball's been playing all day. James Reynolds, that's going to end the 6th. All right, he gets clipped again here in the 7th in his last inning. Let's see. Here's Valdez. He struck him out with all fastballs the first 2 times.
But also he was stepping out of the box on.
Looks like this one's going to get put in play.
It certainly looks like to us that Caballero was within the
Actually hit it
rules.
really well, right at belly. So I guess he just was dead red on the fastball cheating because he got so many of them. That was a good swing. Gerrit got away with one there.
Looking up there is not
A little
yet
bit.
being fully engaged.
All right, Ryan O'Hearn, backdoor curveball.
Heard the mics, the hot mics we have down there.
Meredith,
Slider down
In
ball.
trouble, and he said, whatever the rule is.
No, this didn't get banned. This
I
is just the
think
video
it's
review
clear
app.
it
What
is.
got banned is people putting their own software onto the iPads.
Thank you, Mayor.
That was like AI help us choose what to watch, what to do software. That's what got banned, not the video app. The video's fine.
Makes the catch.
So he gets pretty lucky here. Could have easily been clipped here by O'Hearn. This is a good swing. He just hits it a little bit too high at 42 degrees.
Thank you, Mayor.
This is why I mentioned Gerrit gives up home runs sometimes. It's when he doesn't finish his gyro slider with 2 strikes, like Muncy the other day versus the Dodgers, or here he didn't get this one below zone either and gives the batter a good chance, especially when it's 2nd or 3rd time through the order and they've seen it a little bit. But he got lucky here,
Thank you, Mayor.
and that's 2 outs in the 7th. Now I think he gets clipped right here. So let's see, sinker in ball, 4-seam homer.
Skied to right center.
And he looks like he knew it off the bat. Good swing. That's a bomb, though. Nice opposite field shot. 102 at 36. And that's the 3rd run. So he's been undone with 2 swings. Arguably, there's been 4 swings off of him that could have resulted in home runs. The O'Hearn one, and then the Bilal one to left center earlier. So that's the biggest thing. Like, he's always going to be in the strike zone a lot, and at times he's risking home runs and stuff. But I thought his stuff looked great, as that's the final out. Hard line drive on the slider. Similar to the O'Hearn pitch here, where it just doesn't have quite the finish on it, and guys can get to that slider. But overall, I think he's looked better coming out of the break than he did before the break, and I think his best pitching's ahead of him. And at some point, he'll have a game where they just won't hit any home runs. You know, sometimes I used to always say, you know, so I threw a bad pitch. Can't you just hit a single? Why do you got to hit a home run? You know, why do you got to hit a home run? All right, back to the chat. Yankees could generally win it all with this rotation. Just got to upgrade the offense. Yeah, and it would look a lot better with Judge and Stanton in there, but you're right. The offense has been rough. Obviously, you know, it's funny. I think they need a killer in the bullpen, but the bullpen has been actually not really the problem. Not really the problem, you know, occasionally, but overall, no. So, yeah, offense, a couple things. Catcher spot, 3rd base spot, righty outfielder, something like that. We'll see what's available. We'll see what they do. Why do pitchers keep using their cutters when it leaks over the plate all the time and gets hit? I just think there's a lack of understanding of what gets hit. I don't think a lot of people keep enough track of what actually gets punished. And a lot of times it's that missed location on the cutter. I also think cutter's such an obvious pitch to add to your arsenal as a bridge pitch, but then a lot of people don't know how to use it, or they don't realize that they can't execute it at the rate that they want, or they see somebody else who is effective with the cutter and then they jump on board and they start to make mistakes. So again, I think it's a pitch everybody should have, but not everybody should use in the way that they use it or as often as they use it. How was it pitching in Colorado because away games grip-wise is affected due to the altitude? Nothing with the grip, really. I mean, it's a little drier sometimes, but the biggest thing is just your pitches move differently home and away, and you have to utilize that. If there's teams using AI in the dugout and calling pitches from the dugout, which team is using AI to call their pitches? I bet someone's tried it. I don't know what you're talking about, but yeah. Ayo, as a pitcher, what are your thoughts on teams changing their starting catcher midseason? Lots of chatter about it. Goodman or Langoliers possibly being moved. It's not easy to bring in a new catcher at the deadline and get him up to speed, but it's not impossible either. You know, it's not, it just depends. It depends. It depends on who you're bringing in, how quickly they can get up to speed, and how your team functions with game planning. I think those are all things to worry about. But yeah, it's a little bit of a risk to come in and introduce a big variable like that, like a new catcher. You want to watch Jake Bennett next? I can get on board with that. You think Lombard gets called up this year? I would guess yes, but I'm not 100% sure. What are you talking about? I actually don't. I don't know. I think sometimes the pitcher believes that if he didn't use the pitch that gets him in trouble, he'd get even more trouble. Batters would get on time for the other stuff, or he needs to throw strikes. Yeah, of course. You want to mix. There's some to that, but I don't know. It just, like, even mine, like, I hated my cutter. I didn't eliminate it from my arsenal. It was one of those things where it was like I could use it for chase in certain circumstances. Like if I throw a fastball inside to a lefty and I get swing action on it, then a cutter off that same line that goes in towards the belly button, super effective. But to just like go 2-1 cutter middle in and risk missing down and in, I did that way too often and got punished for it way too often. So I'm definitely a little sensitive to that. No doubt about it. All right, so we reviewed both of those guys from 2 days ago. Yesterday, there really wasn't that much baseball. These were the only games on the board last night. San Diego and Atlanta, Minnesota, Cleveland, Tampa Bay, Toronto, Arizona, St. Louis, and Detroit, Kansas City were the only games from yesterday. I don't really even remember now what was interesting from yesterday. Oh, yeah, Gavin Williams. Yeah. He could be somebody. Sale. Oh, yeah, Bieber. Bieber's an interesting one. We should really watch Shane Bieber, and then we maybe circle around to Jake Bennett. I think we should watch Bieber because Bieber could be on the move here, considering that he's a free agent and the Blue Jays are where they are. He could help somebody as a trade chip. I mean, that's horrible. Expected ERA, holy shit, 7.23 expected ERA through 6 starts. But let's see if when we watch it, what we think. He's only given up 1 run over his last 2 starts. 6 innings, no runs versus the White Sox. And then yesterday versus the Rays, 7 innings, 3 hits, 1 run, no walks, 3 strikeouts. He's a command pitcher. We all know it. But he's got really good command when he's right. And perhaps these numbers are more based off the first starts. I don't know. But I bet you somebody takes a flyer on Shane Bieber if the price is right, being that he's a free agent. And the Blue Jays will probably try to do something with him. So, let's see if we can get a player breakdown from Shane. He went 7 innings, 3 hits, 1 run, no walks, 3 strikeouts on 86 pitches. Here was the mix. 37 heaters, average 92.4. That's right on average for this year. 17 changeups, 12 cutters, 11 curves, 5 sliders, 4 sinkers, 63 fastball, first pitch strikes, I mean. Only 5 hard hits, so everything looks good here. Not a ton of whiff, but again, he's not really a stuff guy at this point. Although his changeup, now that it's a kick changeup, kind of made his stuff somewhat better. Anyway, here we go. Rays and Jays. Shane Bieber, and I'll do a little speed watch this one. We'll just do result pitches. So first batter of the game, 3-2 to Yandy Diaz. Gets him to chase. Fastball up and in and pop it up. 1 out in the first. Second batter is Jonathan Aranda. Slider down, hit really hard. Really good play by Miles Straw. This is probably an expected home run. This is certainly a barrel. 103.9 at 24. So the slider just didn't get there. This is just what we were just watching with Gerrit. Like sometimes you just don't get the slider low enough to the lefty and it's easy to just drop barrel on it. That's what happened there. So Fortunate out there. And now 1-1 to Junior. Perfect location. Lollipop to left. So 2 perfect location outs and 1 kind of lucky out. Second inning, 0-2 to Mesa Jr. Comes a curveball. Below zone, beautiful location. Circus play by Vlad, love it. Went out there. Now we have Johnny DeLuca. 4-seam up and away, that was well located. So 4 of the first 5 outs have been very well located. And let's see this one to Chandler Simpson. Yeah, that's fine. You want to be up in the zone to Simpson for the most part. That was up and away. Nice job. So looks pretty clean through 2. Third inning, 3-2 to Williamson. Gets the ball in. That's where they wanted it. Nice location there. Now Richie Palacios. Backdoor curveball. Nice play by Okamoto. Here's the first hit. Fiducia. Yeah, middle, hammered. I don't think he's pitching with a lot of margin for error right now, particularly with his fastball. So you just have to know that's the type of pitcher you're acquiring. He's not necessarily nasty. This is going to be a run here. Curveball to Yandy, well hit. Pinyango decides not to go get that. That's going to be an RBI single for Yandy. Oh, he's not going to... Oh, wait, now he's going home. Whoa. What happened there on the defensive end? This was not it. Let's see what happened here, because this is bad base running. He stops for an unknown reason, thinking it was caught. Fiducia had no idea what happened there. If you watch him, he's coming around third. He's got his head down. He has no idea where the ball is. So he's cruising, and then he sees Bieber walking off the mound, I think, and he thinks that it's caught. The inning's over. He legitimately stops running here. Now, credit the on-deck batter here, who's saying, come on. But he stops, and then he realizes that the last second, and the Jays don't realize, not that they would have thrown him out anyway, but he does score. So that was a little quirky. All right, so 2 bad pitches, both got punished. 1 fastball down the middle, 1 curveball down the middle. Here's a changeup to Aranda. Pulled that one. That wasn't great location, but it was low. So he gets the out, and he's through 3. 4th inning.
A lot of balls on the ground, a lot of ground ball outs for him today. And he strikes
Ooh, now that was nice. Let's watch this whole at-bat for Junior Caminero. See how he gets the strikeout. First pitch, cutter, dotted. Beautiful. Second pitch, 4-seam in. Good miss. Effective miss. Now another 4-seam in. Perfect location. And now changeup in. Very good sequence. Very good execution. This is great. That was Shane Bieber right there. Straight paint. Outlier command. All right, now he's going to get Mesa Jr. out with a changeup. Little chopper. Okamoto, look what I found. Pick it like a booger, kid. Attaboy. Nice play. 2 outs in the 4th. Knuckle curve. Hard hit. Yeah, see, he's a little vulnerable with some of his pitches in zone. Curveball, I would say. Fastball for sure. Cutter for sure. I feel good about changeup and his command. But I don't know. He's such an interesting pitcher at this moment. It's still a plus command. I'd love to have him on my team. Not sure if he's a postseason starter for you. Just not sure. Changeup popped up. I mean, certainly better. Like, if he goes to the White Sox, he would be for sure. But I'm saying, like, he won't be like an upgrade for a team who already has a bunch of pitchers. This is a very fortunate out. This is a self-defense out. This sucks if you're hitting. Just try not to get whacked, and you end up putting that ball in play, and you're out. What's the exit velo on that? 43. My goodness. Let's watch that from the side. Kind of sick. All right. Change up coming here to Palacios. I would, if between the two, if they're both going to get moved, Gosman's still more high-end in my opinion. But they'll both be intriguing for teams. And here's another out and a changeup. So we got a lot of outs on changeups, which is what you would expect. It's a really good pitch. It's actually gotten better since his Tommy John now that he changed his grip on it. And the command's been really good as well. So vintage Shane Bieber, maybe a few ticks down from when he's at his absolute best. But you see the locations caused some really poor contact in this game by the Rays. That was a beautiful sinker in. Here's a changeup to Aranda. Beautiful location on that one as well. Wow, look at Ernie with the slide knee play. Sick. And then a strikeout of Junior again. So he actually punches out Caminero twice. Let's watch this whole at-bat. All right, starts in the same way as before. Cutter away. This time Junior fires at it, but it's up, pulls it foul. Fastball again, this time away. Did in the first time, but this time he paints it away. See the command? That's uncanny. And now slider away right off that line. Now he's got him diving. He's going to come in now and try to miss up, which is what he does, and he gets the swing through. So beautiful pitching there, and that was his best fastball of the day, 93-4. So that's encouraging for Shane. Really impressive at-bat there. All right, 7th inning. Going to start off with a strikeout of Mesa on a curveball. His curveball's played well backdoor to lefties. Just cannot leave it over the middle. Slider to DeLuca. Another weird defensive swing. That wasn't a good pitch, but it worked out. And then he's going to get a 1-pitch out of Simpson. So really a very good outing from Bieber here. Hardly ever challenged. Hardly any balls hit hard. 3 on some mistakes. Looking at him, you can see what the issue is a little bit with where he's vulnerable, but you can also see what he's so good at. It's the location and the mix. And I don't know. He's going to be an interesting guy. The expected ERA does jump off the page in a negative way. You know, 7.23 expected ERA, expected batting average 309, all of that. But the last 2 starts have been way better. It's crazy to see him with a below average walk percentage. But that's going to normalize. I mean, 2 walks and 9 strikeouts over his last 2 outings in a combined, 15 innings? 13 innings, 1 run. So, be interesting to see who goes for him. They also have Gausman, of course, who's, I think, as well going to be on the block. I would pick Gausman. I know he's got the worst ERA, but I would pick Gausman as the higher-end guy because not a lot has really changed with him. You know, very similar to last year where he was unbelievable in pitching value. It just seems like a year where not as much has gone his way. So, you know, I still think Gausman would be the higher end target. Ooh, my guy's coming through with BP passes for a friend today at the Mets. So let me just hook him up. Thanks, bro. Matt Siegel, Winnie Siegel, bam. All right, tell him he's all set. Respond to this. And then confirmed for my Zoom later. Bam. So, yeah, that's Gausman. And I see this comment right here, and now I'm curious. Do you think they both have higher value than Castillo? My gut says yes on Gausman. Not sure about on Bieber, because I know that Castillo's been worse this year. This is Castillo's page. But he's still got more velo. How's he pitched as of late? 7 innings, 3 runs this last start. He's actually pitched pretty well his last 4 starts. I think Castillo's still got value out there. I know he's had a disappointing year, but I still think he's got some value out there for sure. He's not that far off from being the same guy. Walks have been under check. Chase is still good. It's gonna be close. So I would go Gausman, Castillo, Bieber for those 3, but I don't know. Curious what you guys would think. Gausman still has good whiff. He can be lights out on any given day. Bieber has less confidence against good hitters. I agree. I have less confidence versus good hitters. You said yes. I agree. Put Castillo on the White Sox, they win like Cueto did with the Royals. And then White Rican pushes back. If Castillo looks bad on the Mariners, he'll look worse on 80% of teams. I do think some teams are gonna kick the tires on a Castillo, though. I mean, I'm not putting him as like a huge acquisition, but something could happen there. Although I saw the Mariners put Hancock out there as well as on the trade block, Emerson Hancock. I mean, they're probably clamoring at this point to call up Cade Anderson, who totally deserves it, but it just depends. And Ron's on it here. It just depends. Unfortunately, it's hard to give you clear answers on a lot of stuff because the cost is such a big factor, the fit with each team, and there's so many teams that are going to need people. So it's tough, man. It's tough. Yes, Cade Anderson has been absolutely dominating. So, I mean, at some point they're going to want to call him up from Double A or wherever he is. How is Bieber's changeup so effective with such a small differential? Let me backtrack to Shane real quick. So, yeah, 88 off of 92. You're right. Not a big speed differential, but it's a huge break differential. Four seam averages 17 inches of lift. Changeup, now that it's a kick change, averages 1.4 inches. So it's a movement changeup as opposed to a speed changeup. That's why. Plus, he has great command with it. This is like more of a modern changeup approach. Now that we have the movement data and we know how to throw everything, he's now kicking his changeup to create a seam shift action and drive more drop, a la a splitter. And you don't need to have as much differential in speed necessarily if you have great differential and vertical movement between your fastball and changeup. So we've seen a lot of guys do this. That's the trick that Bieber's doing. So great question there. Great question there. Great question. From an inch away from winning the World Series to Sellers. Ouch. I feel horrible for Blue Jays fans this season. I really do. Gosman would make a nice Brave. You know, it's funny, Uncle Ted, they had him before. He was a Brave. Crazy. All right, let's see what else we got here in the solo shot. This is a good question. Why did your cutter usage increase so much after your final two seasons? Did it, though? Let me look at my usage real quick. I can explain everything about myself, obviously. I tell you what every decision went into in my career, if you want to understand that real quick. All right, so we can't look at 2025 because that's 4 games. All right, here's 2024. I had the cutter as my third most used pitch at 11% in 2024 with the Mets. Truthfully, that number was probably dropping as the season progressed. But if you go back to 2023, cutter was at 15%, 2022, 5%. Okay, so 2022 was a great year for me, right? Arguably my second or third best year of my career, 2022. And I probably shouldn't have gone to more cutter. Probably should not have gone to more cutter. I think I was still trying to level up. And in my mind, I said, if I can throw my cutter harder, it will be more effective. That was what was going on in my mind. I was thinking, okay, if I can get it up to 90, then my cutter can become a better pitch. I was able to do that coming in to spring training that year. And you can see on my overall average in 23, it's a little bit up from 22. Because I changed my grip, I got a little more on the seam. I was actually throwing 90, 91 mile an hour cutters in spring training. As the season went on, it stunk. Another thing, though, that was throwing me off was the Mets' internal model said that my cutter was my best pitch versus lefties and that it should be my primary pitch versus lefties. This was what Stearns in the front office were giving to each player for their player plan. They have their models built. The model loved my cutter because it had some level of whiff on it. And I'll show you. 2023... cutter, 36.1% whiff. So that's what they were looking at. And they were actually even looking at my cutter's whiff rate in 2022, which was 31.8%. So they were seeing a high whiff rate, over 30% whiff rate. And it's even higher versus lefties. And they were saying, you need to throw more of this because it's a good pitch. Problem is, yes, it could get whiff, but this pitch also got absolutely slammed my whole career. So what did dumb Adam do? Adam listened for all of 23 and allowed a 318 batting average and a 727 slug on the pitch, and still kept throwing it into 2024, where I was allowing a 367 batting average and a 758 expected slug on it. So I was getting absolutely smashed on this pitch, over 1,000 slug, before I finally went in and said, this pitch is not a strike pitch for me. This is a chase pitch at the most, and I need to stop throwing it. So then my usage went down at the end of the year. So the answer is I was convinced by analytics a little bit, and I was fooled. And I'm an idiot for listening because I know better than that. So anyway, that's the reason why, and I probably should have stayed with who I was in 2022 when with my usage where everything was good. But you can see from my whole career, I really had a love-hate relationship with my cutter. 2021, it was at 2%. 2020, it was at 4%, but if you go to 2019, it was a big part of it, 14%. 2018, it was even bigger, I thought. Now 10%. Let's see, 2017, 2016, 6%, 2015, 14%. I've had some years where I moved it up and down a lot, but overall, I don't know. I had such a love-hate relationship with the pitch, and I kept thinking it could be a level up for me, but let's be honest. Pitch stinks. Pitch stinks. Go look at my run value for my career on my cutter. It's not going to be great. -2 in 24, -2 in 23, 0 in 22, -1 in 21, -2 in 20. I should have just realized, like, don't throw this pitch. This pitch sucks. But I did it. And now that's why I'm warning everybody about it now. So that's the answer for that. All right, what else we got here? I hate the term model so much and under the hood. I agree, under the hood. I say that too, but I have to stop saying that. I agree with that. Can you pull up 9/7 2020 and explain your performance against the Blue Jays, please? I have 3 worst games in my career. This is one of them. This ended my Yankee career effectively. This is so freaking bad, man. I think I got 0 swings and misses in this game. This is a total detour. 2021. It would have been 2020. Oh, there is no video on 2020. But let me just say this. I just got no swings and misses that game, and it went really south. I had to give up 7 runs. And the first play should have been made by Luke Voigt, but he can't make any plays really at first base. So that cost me an out, and then I never dug out of it. All right. What makes a good cutter? It seems like a high variance pitch for a lot of guys. Two things separate your cutter. Number 1, the movement on it, the shape of it. If you can have some sort of outlier quality, like more lift or more cut. Number 2, velocity. So really it's the overall nastiness of the pitch in raw form, the shape and velocity of the pitch. That's why Cam Schlittler's is great. That's why anybody who throws a cutter over 93, I'm in on it. But that's kind of the first thing. And then the biggest thing is the command. If you don't have great command of your cutter, you're going to make a lot of mistakes. So that's why. Yeah, in 2020 too, Uncle Ted, when I only pitched like 18 innings. So that's why my ERA sucks that year. I think I had a 2.8 that year outside of that one outing. So that was one of those where you're just like, not good, not happy. Could you show your cutter grip? Yeah, sure. All right, then we'll go watch Jake Bennett next. All right, so cutter grip evolved a little bit over time. Originally, so this is my sweeper grip right here where I'm in the corner of the ball with this finger. You see? So all I did for cutter for a while, this is pre-sticky stuff crackdown, is I would move my finger over to here, right in the center of the ball, pointer finger, stay in the cutter grip basically, and I would tell myself pointer finger pressure. Now, I'm on the leather here, so that ball started to slip. So once they cracked down on the sticky and I wasn't quite as glued to the ball anymore, then I went to different cutter grip. So this is my normal fastball grip where the horseshoe is on this side by my pointer. All I did was I shifted it up so that now the horseshoe is by my middle. And then all I would do is I would keep my fingers kind of wide like a four-seamer, and I would just come through the pitch at 45 degrees. So instead of coming through it clean behind it to backspin it, I would come from it here to backspin it a little bit sideways. And being on the seam allowed me to pull really hard. And that was why I had so much confidence that I could throw that pitch like over 90 and that it could become a good pitch for me. But actually, it didn't work out that way throughout the year. But that's the idea. That's the idea. Behind that. As I'm dropping the Buck Showalter ball here. Anyway, not great. You want to see my stat line from that day? So bad. So bad. Yankees versus Blue Jays 6. What was it? Was it 6-24-17? Oh, 6-24-17. That's my game against the Dodgers. That's my other worst game of my career. With the wild pitches. I should have never been pitching in this game. I was completely out of whack in this game, and they left me out to dry really bad. And I pitched horrible in this game. Well, no, not this game. I don't even know what this game is. But there's a game where I had like 5 wild pitches in it. So maybe that's what you're referring to. I don't really know. Whatever. Nixon 5. Nixon 5. Nixon 5. Yeah, I just showed the sweeper grip too. It's just over in the corner there. I know. I dropped the buck ball. Sorry, Pops. Where did you fall on the sticky stuff usage scale compared to other guys? Probably in the middle. Like a 4 or 5. Nothing crazy. It was mostly just sunscreen and rosin, which we didn't know was doing anything. There was a little stretch where I tried a little Pelican grip, but it was like too much for me, and it took away from my sinker. So I wasn't like a crazy sticky guy like, Garrett Richards or somebody like that. But, I definitely used it. All right, Jake Bennett is on my mind. So, LeBron signed with Philly. What a lame pick. Ugh. Gross. The 76ers of all people? That's, ugh. All right. They'll probably be pretty decent, though. Maxey, Jaylen Brown, etc. All right, Jake Bennett. Did he pitch 2 days ago? I love watching Jake Bennett. I know he pitched one of these games. Yeah, I think it's this one. Now, what I've been impressed with Jake so far is the way he pitches, like the combinations of his fastball, his changeup, reading swings, the execution rate. Stuff-wise, it's intriguing. It's not like overwhelming, but like he has enough extension with an interesting enough release to let that four-seamer play. His changeup's by far his best pitch, but really he's got great command. I mean, no walks again in this start. Does a great job of firing those fastballs up and in on righties. So let's see what it looked like against the Orioles, who have a pretty sneaky offense. I don't know about sneaky, but a lot of names. So let's see what it looked like against them. Just the other day, as this was the 15th win in a row for the Sox. All right, Jake Bennett, I mentioned changeup's his best pitch. He threw 27 of them to lead the way in this last start. 23 four-seamers, 17 sinkers, 12 sweepers, 3 cutters, 1 curveball. Velo was touched down. That is one concern for me long-term, not his velo being down. But just in general, that they're relying on these 3 guys, Early, Tolley, and Bennett, a lot. And then they're going for it. They're going all in. And these guys are probably, 3 of their 4 best pitchers along with Sonny, so they're going to need a lot out of these guys. And hopefully they don't wear down. That would be one thing that you would think about. You would hope they don't wear down. Hey, this is a great. I'm just going to leave this here for a minute. Not that I care. I'm never offended to look at my bad stuff. I have plenty of good stuff. You can tell by my overall career stats, but I also sucked a lot too. That's part of being a pro pitcher. Don't forget that. You know what's funny, actually? Before we watch Jake Bennett, I just want to illustrate this point really quickly. This is something that I did one time to make myself feel good about myself. All right. So if you go like for my whole career, you go for like my whole career, like we'll just start with 2012 as a relief pitcher. And from 2012 until now as a relief pitcher. Oh, I need multiple seasons. 2012 to 2026. Must be a registered viewer to view more than 10 years of data? That's absurd. All right, so let's do 2012 to 2022. Right, and I'm 16th in WAR during that period on baseball on Fangraphs, right behind Raciel Iglesias. But if the reason why I show that, if there's a stat here for blown saves, yeah, blown saves, and I was like, man, I feel like I've blown a lot of games. You know what I'm saying? But then you go look at the pitchers who had blown the most games in that time frame, and they're all the best fucking pitchers. Kenley Jansen, 51 blown saves. Fernando Rodney, 40. Clippard, 40. Kimbrel, 40. Shaw, 40. Robertson, 40. Cishek, 39. And me, 38. So I was like, oh, okay, all the best pitchers blow a lot of saves. Because if you're pitching in high leverage, whether it's in hold spot or a safe spot, you still get a blown save if you allow them to tie the game or beyond. So I would look at it and I was like, I'm in good company. I mean, Kenley's got 11, like Kenley's got 13 more than me. You know, it's kind of amazing. What's amazing is that Chapman only had 35 of them in that whole period. That's wild to see. But anyway, just thought that was funny, just for reference. If you ever want to crush a relief pitcher for having some blown games, like if you pitch enough, you're going to blow them. Exactly. You guys are on it. So just wanted to show that real quick. Yeah, but it's also, this is a bullshit stat, Evan, because he has a ton of holds during that period. So you can get a blown save if you blow the hold. You know, not just the save. So really, he probably had like 200 holds and saves and 40 blown saves, if that makes sense. Anyway, just wanted to point that out. We are up to Jake Bennett. Oh, the wife just asked me a question. All right, Jake Bennett. So anyway, we went over his outing. We're about to go over his outing. Lots of change-ups. Unbelievable at first pitch strikes. Let's pay attention to the sequencing. Let's pay attention to what makes Jake Bennett so tough to face and why we're so impressed by this rookie. And yeah, let's just enjoy watching him. I'll actually probably watch all of his pitches because I really enjoy watching the way he goes about it. So this will probably be our last pitcher today. Maybe we watch a few hitters after this before I have to go. All right, 92-6, strike one to start off the game, and right to the cambio. Perfect pitch once again, swing and miss. Change up down, and change up again. So one fastball, 3 change ups. Clear that the batter, Taylor Ward, had no idea that those were change ups out of the hand. All right, sinker, strike to Big Pete, and then a change up off of that. Perfect location, gets the rollover again. Already he's got a top 10 starter changeup in the game. All right, left on left here. Sinker, strike. And sinker again. Gunner's going to get an infield hit, as Bennett's not going to be able to make that play. And here is Tyler O'Neill. Strike one. Do you ever miss Boston, Adam? Yeah, of course. I love Boston. In fact, in my family, we love Boston so much that my wife drove to Boston in one day just to get some cupcakes. So we love Boston. I do miss it. I haven't been there this year. Kind of bummed I didn't get on any of those games on NBC or ESPN yet in Boston. That would have been great. I just got the honor of doing one in Wrigley, which was special. Fenway would be also very special. Anyway, another out on a changeup. So 3 outs on changeups in the first. Second inning. Fastball middle, 1 pitch out. I've been comparing Bennett to a young Tom Glavine. It's actually a good comparison. I agree. Pitches with a similar style. He does. And see that 4-seam up and it's out of this release right here, it plays really well at the top. So he has a little bit more of a speed factor than you would think for a guy whose velo is probably mid in today's game. Fastball up, fastball in, beats him there. Abreu's there, good positioning. And now we have Encarnacion Strand, former Red. And he's all over the strike zone too for first pitch strikes. Whereas this would be a guy who would probably struggle a lot behind in the count consistently, but he just hasn't been behind in the count consistently. And you see the ability that he gets of people to chase him way out of the zone. Like he's gotten righties to swing at bad pitches a lot. A lot. This is the first one I was just mentioning that he got the chase out of. It's so far away. How do you get somebody to swing at that? Did you ever train at CSP? Not like full-time, but Eric wrote my workouts for about a 3 or 4 year period. And I've known Eric forever. And I did go to CSP to throw in Florida a couple times as well, because I've known Eric since college years, Eric Cressy and his wife Anna. So yes, I wouldn't say I'm a CSP full-time guy. I've never lived in Jupiter or Mass like long enough, but yes, the answer to that question is kind of yes. Another changeup down, and then another heater. This one's going to get hit. Yeah, so that's the big thing is when he gets his heater up, it's super effective. With 2 strikes down, he's a little more vulnerable. Sinker away ball. Sinker in, jam sandwich hit for my guy Jackson Holiday. Love to see him succeed. Great kid, great kid. Base hit to left, and now that sets up a matchup with Huff. The much better of the Huffs in baseball. We don't talk about that Aubrey Huff, who is probably the most toxic man on the internet. Wow, changeup, changeup, changeup. That's disgusting. Let's watch that again, and the 0 adjustments made by Huff. That's 1.
2 on, 2 out for Bennett.
That's 2. I mean, he's not even close to these balls. And that's 3. Sayonara. 3rd inning. Back to the top. Taylor Ward. And they have a 4-0 lead now, so he is just going to go right at everybody here. It'll fly out to right. Plenty of opportunity to just pound the strike zone with the 4-run lead, so there'll be some good pitching in here, but he's no matter what, he's going to hedge down the middle.
15 in a row in 1946. A lot of great players there lined into right field.
And Pete with a ground rule double to right. This is a good job by Pete, just allowing himself to get jammed. I think if you're a righty against Bennett, kind of need to get jammed a little bit. That gives you a chance to stay on the changeup. All right, so there's a double with 1 out. Next up is Gunnar. Gunnar got an infield hit that first time. Sinker in. Slider away. Goodbye. You could even tell by Huff's load he had no idea what was going on. 0 idea, yeah. Did you play college baseball? Yes, I went to Northeastern University in Boston. Not too far from where we're watching right now. I went there from 04 to 06. And there's that fastball up. This is the biggest thing. Because of his low release, like he doesn't have a crazy amount of lift. This is 13 inches of vert. But because of his low release and his 7'3" extension, these balls really play. And he's really good at locating it up in the zone. It took me about 4 or 5 starts to realize how good he was at this skill. Not easy to do, but he does it really well. And that makes him, in a way, have a plus fastball despite not having a plus fastball, if that makes sense. All right, 2 outs. Here's Tyler O'Neill. A lot of changeups here, I would think. First pitch, sinker down. 4-seam coming here. Doors at 91. Now to the changeup. Off the plate away. And popped up. Yeah, I did. I did go to the parade. I did, and I also, the night that they won the World Series against the Cardinals, I was outside in the streets. Same when they beat the Yankees. Nothing like I've never seen anything like the city like that. That was the most electric time ever in baseball, in my opinion, from a fan standpoint. 03-04 Yankees versus Red Sox postseason series. The Yankees winning that first one, the Boone game, and then the comeback from the Red Sox the next year. All right, so this costs him a run. I mean, you got literally the best fielder on the field right here who gets a sunball and can't catch it. So a little bit of a bad luck here by Sadon not being able to catch this, even with his shades on. So must have been a tough one. Pete comes around to score. What about the Cubs 2016 World Series? Also epic, also epic. I'm just saying, like, from what I've seen in a city. I wasn't in Chicago or Cleveland during any of that, but that Yankees-Red Sox stretch when the Red Sox broke the curse, I mean, it was the only thing anybody was talking about for weeks, and you could just, the energy was wild. All right, here's another heater. Let's see if he gets it up. Yeah, he gets it up enough, and a can of corn. This time, Sadon's gonna catch this one. So, one run he didn't deserve, and nothing else. All right, Taveras going for the bunt. Nice play by Connor Wong for the nice out. That's a pitcher's gift, and this is going to be a home run. Encarnacion Strand. Sinker, middle down, hammer to center, no doubter. 106. Just a bomb, but this type of home run doesn't matter. You're winning 5-1. You're just trying to throw a first pitch strike. You do that. The guy gets a home run. You move along. I've said it all the time. Good starting pitchers give up solo shots. All right, 3-run lead now. Jackson Holiday got jammed on a sinker and got a hit the first time. So now he goes sweeper here. And it's a roll over to Contreras. So not going to make the same mistake twice. 2 outs, and here's Huff. Wow, he threw him a fastball. I would have just went changeup again after that first at-bat. Changeup strike. Changeup down, rolled to third. Durbin is there, who's been excellent the last few weeks, Durbin. Really, the last month or two. So a little rollover there. 5th inning. Back to the top of the order, Taylor Ward. It's our first curveball of the day. Chunks it in the ground. Now going to the front door sinker. Nice execution. Now 4-seam off of that would be good if he gets it up. Ooh, hammered off the body, takes the out. So this was him getting hammered off the body here. Oh. Right in the tummy. Impressive to not really care. But that hurt. Ow. Exit velo, what's this, like 106? 102.8 off the stomach. Damn. And then nothing happened, he just kept rolling. Yeah, it looks like he's still in there, no problem. Even executes a nice changeup. That's impressive. It's impressive. Maybe it was a little bit of a glancing blow, but that's always a little scary. All right, changeup, sinker. Lined up the middle, base hit. Pete's had good at-bats. You see how Pete stayed to right field against Bennett? I think that's the right approach for a righty. Got one out over. This is the sinker. Last at-bat allowed himself to get jammed on the 4-seam, and it was great. But this time he gets the sinker away, and because his energy's already going that way, lines are up the middle. So great approach by Pete. All right, man on first, back to Gunner. Changeup pulled foul. Sinker strike. Sweeper down. Yeah, I saw about the LeBron to the Philly thing. My immediate reaction was to throw up in my mouth a little bit. Not that I care that much. I don't think LeBron's that great anymore, but obviously he's the second best player of all time. So obviously it's important, but I'm a Knicks fan, so I don't like the Sixers. Sweeper on the corner, off the end. Good execution throughout that whole at-bat to Gunner. And now here is O'Neal. 4-seam up, strike. Good catch by Connor Wong. Cutter coming here. Nice pitch. And sweeper coming here. Man, good sequence there. One thing led to the other the whole way. Undresses Tyler O'Neal. 6th inning. Mayo. Swing and miss at a cutter. He's introducing much more breaking ball here, 2nd and 3rd time through. Change up away ball. Cutter down ball. 4-seam up in. Didn't get it up enough, and it's hammered down the line for a double.
He's heading into second base. He'll slide in
So,
with a double, and that's the start.
leadoff double in the 6th.
And at second,
Here comes Tavares. Four-seam foul.
pitch.
You have to manage when you do, you're going to be a player's manager or more like Girardi? I don't know. I'm going to be more like me. I mean, yeah, definitely a player's guy, but you gotta, I mean, I don't know. It's hard to like define yourself just by players or not players, but of course the game's about the players. So you got to be a player's guy, but at the same time, just got to be me. I do think it would look very different with me as the manager. People would be like, this guy's an absolute weirdo, but his players will love me. That's for sure. My players will love me and they'll know that I love them. I'll tell you that. Little check swing. Good play. Good job by Contreras here to just go ahead and tag him. Nice play. But another good changeup from Bennett. All right, Encarnacion Strand homered on that sinker last time. Changeup down. Sweeper. He's had good at-bats, actually. Yeah, it was a bad pitch. Right down the middle. That's going to cost him a run. Gets it back in. He's a little vulnerable on his off-speed pitches. There's no doubt. It's mostly a fastball, 2 fastball and changeup attack. I think over time he'll learn when and how to use his breaking balls a little bit better. You can even see the consistency of the location on some of these isn't as good, certainly as the fastball or changeup. But I don't think they're bad by any means. But you know, you're just trying to think, what are you vulnerable on? There's another sinker in that Jackson tries to go the other way on. Jackson's in this mode right now, Holiday, where he's stepping in the bucket. See that? Stepping in the bucket, but staying inside the ball. So it's a weird combination, and I've seen it work at times for guys, but you got to get pitches in for that to work. So it's a little bit weird, a little cheating on the sinker in there. All right, 2 outs, and then they end up pulling him, so he's out of the game. But overall, I mean, how could you not be impressed by Jake Bennett? Obviously, the takeaways here are that his changeup is elite. The command is elite. He's got 99th percentile walk rate, 3.9% walks. So your floor is always going to be high when you're a 99th percentile walk type of pitcher. George Kirby, Jake Bennett. So then it just comes down to basically the other categories. Are you getting strikeouts? Well, he's doing okay, not great in the strikeout numbers because it's 18.3 K percentage. So if you're not doing as good with strikeouts, how are you going to get more of them? Well, he's already got 98th percentile chase, so he needs to create more whiff within the zone. That's going to be tough with his stuff. So if he's never going to be able to become a great strikeout pitcher, maybe 50th percentile or 60th percentile at best, the third thing is avoiding the home run ball. Now he does and the extra base hits. Now he does a good job of that. 78% ground ball rate. So do I think he can succeed with this style forever? I kind of do. But I'd like to see him make a little bit of a uptick in whiff rate, and then he's going to have to continue to avoid the home run. So far, he's done a great job with that. 80th percentile barrel rate, only 5.7% barrels is excellent. But yeah, look, he cannot afford at all for his walk rate to back up or for the barrels to back up. Those are the two things that as long as he keeps doing those at an elite clip, he's basically a number 1, number 2, number 3 type guy. 6-3, 2.58 ERA through 10 starts. What a trade for Breslow. What a find for the Red Sox. Bring him in on the trade from the Nationals for Perales. And now they're absolutely rolling with Bennett, Tolle, and Early here in the second half of the season. So I love this guy. In a way, I kind of like him the most. But it's tough to ignore the fact that Tolle has a unicorn fastball and Early has better stuff than Bennett across the board. Just Bennett's changeup and command and extension and the steadiness and the way he pitches makes me really love him. So it's tough. So it's really, really tough to go ahead from that. All right, I'm going to take a quick run to the bathroom real quick here and then decide how to wrap this thing up. All right, let me look in the chat here for a minute, and then I'll do probables. I think we're done for the day. Haven't really looked at any hitters in a while, but we haven't had much consistency with the chat, with the stream. But starting on Monday, I'll be there all 5 days, so you'll get plenty of these. Adam, what was your most scary line drive, but you were relieved when you caught it? I caught one time off the bat. I don't have the video, but it's off the bat of Adam Eaton. He hit one like right at my face, and I kind of caught it right here with my glove. That would have been bad. Whitlock's also my guy. I mean, he's so good. Are you officially in retirement? I'm retired from pitching, yes. Although I will be pitching in this one, I think. But I'll definitely be there. But let's go. Old Timers Day. Espresso maker in the dugout with AO as skipper. You better believe it. A nice one, too. Make the organization pay for that. Are you doing Guardians Reds or Nationals Braves next week on ESPN? I am not on the schedule for either of those games. I'm on the schedule for the following week. I'm doing Giants Rangers in Texas, and then somebody against the Brewers in Milwaukee 2 days later. And I might even be on a game in Kansas City the day after that. It might be a three-peat next week. I think it's 2, but it might be a three-peat. I do have Yes pre and post tomorrow. And then, yeah, I don't have as much this week. A little bit less this week. Do you want a manager who talks to you about helping you get that next contract, or do you want those combos to be process work only? No, I think you have to care about your players' careers. I mean, obviously, you want everybody in that in there to make as much money as possible, basically, and to have, because like, it's just like, my point is you have to care about your own situation, but also about the players individually. Ayo, what's the most fun you ever had playing baseball? I would say either Cape Cod League, summer, travel ball with my friends growing up, and then in the major leagues, probably a couple different years, 18, 19, 22, 24. Honestly, 2009 minor leagues, AAA playoffs with Memphis, we won the title. That was really fun, but I had fun all the time. I love playing. Do pitchers chase the immaculate inning? At what point along the way do you let it affect the approach? It doesn't even matter if you chase it or not, because, I mean, if you throw a ball, you throw a ball. Obviously, if you're on the way to immaculate inning, you don't notice until you probably throw strike 1 to the third batter, so pitch 7. Of course, you're going to try to strike out the side, so it doesn't even matter. But you try to strike out the side. We just looked at Bennett's last game. If you back up a little bit on the stream, it's on there. And if you want to find the backup streams, people on TikTok, you got to come over to YouTube. Please subscribe to me on YouTube. We're trying to get closer to 12,000 subs as fast as possible. We want to keep building the channel, growing the community, the ground screw, everything like that. So come over to YouTube. Come give me a like, give me a subscribe. And you can watch the archive of every single stream. I put chapters up. So we already looked at Bennett. You can go ahead and look at him. In 2025, you had a solid 2-plane 4-seam. Was that a result of unusual preparation? No, I just, midway through 24, I started leaning more on my 4-seam again, and I figured out how to get a little better action on it and how to use it a little better. And that was kind of my plan going into 25. But yeah, it was such a small sample. All right, sub on YouTube, join the Discord. Yes. Brewers and Pirates, and then Royals and Twins. I might be on those. Yeah. What team were you on in the Cape Cod League? I played on Harwich Mariners in the summer of 05. Teammates with Tim Lincecum, believe it or not. Insane. All right, time to do probables, and then I'll interact with you guys in the Discord all weekend. No stream tomorrow night. And I'll be back on Monday with the stream, but Discord all weekend. I'm working hard editing. I made like a vlog from the last thing, so I'm working hard on editing on that. All right, here is the daily matchups for today, the probables for today. Rockies at Brewers, Sugano and Droen. Royals at Tigers as the Tigers continue their march back to 500. Beck Way, who I've never seen, and Tarek Skubal. Advantage Tigers. Cubs, Pirates, Matthew Boyd, Jared Jones in Pittsburgh. Diamondbacks, Nationals, Erod and Carson Palmquist. That means that's an opener situation there for the Nats. Yankees, Phillies, Schlittler, Luzardo. That's a fantastic matchup tonight at the bank. Braves, Orioles, Grant Holmes, and a TBA. Dodgers, Mets, Roki Sasaki. You know, we never watched Roki's last start versus the Yankees, but he was pumping gas. He's been so hot and cold this year, but I do think he's turning the corner into something real as a starter. Roki and Sean Manaea in that one. Guardians, Rays, Cantillo, and McClanahan. Padres, Marlins, Herman Marquez, and TBA for the Fish. Jays, Red Sox. So Jays are on the brink of their season being cooked, and they're going to have to sell. They're going up against the hottest team in the league, the Red Sox. Patrick Sandoval gets the ball for the Sox, and Trey Savage coming off like a 7-walk outing for the Jays. Astros, White Sox, Spencer Arrighetti, Davis Martin. Mariners, Rangers, Bryce Miller, who's been awesome, and Mackenzie Gore. A's, Twins, Jacob Lopez, Zebby Matthews. Reds, Cardinals, Rhett Lauder, Dustin May. I do think Dustin May is pretty available if somebody wants him from the Cardinals. Angels, Giants, Grayson Rodriguez, and Logan Webb wrap us up. Now, Logan Webb's an interesting guy. Logan Webb, if they would decide to perhaps actually move a Logan Webb, you could get something real and he could shake up the market. Because I still think he's super valuable out there with his contribution with innings and production year over year. But they're saying that he's absolutely not on the market. So looks like the Giants are going to hang on to him. But I don't know. Look for maybe him being a wild card in this if they decide to change their stance on that. Logan Webb could be an interesting guy. All right, that's it. That's it for the stream. Appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. Oh, yeah, Savage was good last time. It was the one before we had the 7 walks. You okay? You having trouble there, Brad?
Yeah. I left my water bottle outside the other day, so.
Okay.
It's out there.
Anyway, yeah, that's it for this. That's it for the stream. I'll see you guys on Monday. Yep, definitely come over and sub on YouTube and join the Discord and all of that stuff, and I'll keep you guys updated with any updates. But appreciate everybody for the stream today. So thanks so much. See you guys later.